First up is a roast bowl. So every week I eat some kind of a roast bowl, and the beautiful thing is that you can switch up the bowl depending on what you have at home or what's in season. So I'm using cauliflower today, and in roast bowls I especially love potatoes, so there's usually some kind of potatoes in my bowls. The thinner you cut the potatoes, the quicker they will cook in the oven, so if I want to make this recipe under 30 minutes, I slice them very thinly. Chickpeas are also perfect to roast, but yeah, feel free to swap out for any legume or tofu or just leave them out, but I really like the chickpeas because it gives a nice luxury feeling. I don't know why. Then I also add lots and lots of spices. You can't have enough spices, so I'm adding some paprika powder, cumin, salt, and I also added some garlic powder. While I'm roasting the veggies, I'm choosing between grains. I usually have brown rice or quinoa, but for bowls like this I love having quinoa. And now, how to level up any bowl. You make a delicious dressing. Hummus dressings is my absolute go-to because you can make it in so many flavors and it doesn't require a blender. So as a base, I'm always using the hummus, salt and lemon juice. Then you can ramp up the flavor depending on what you like or what you're having it for. You can do it into a barbecue dressing, a cheesy flavor dressing, lime flavor, yeah, just be creative. Today I'm making a curry dressing, so I'm adding curry powder, maple syrup, and yeah, that's it. Then I'll just stir it around, adding some water, and then stir it again until you have this nice creamy dressing. So when everything is done, it is time to create this beautiful roast bowl. I'm always adding some kind of green in the bottom. Today I'm using arugula, which fits perfect to curry flavor. Then just add everything on there. The dressing, just look how thick the dressing looks. I love it so much.
Next, we're going to be making chickpea flour omelettes. If you've never seen chickpea flour, it's also called gram flour. It is called gram flour, but I'm calling it chickpea flour because it's made from chickpeas. But you can make omelette from chickpea flour in replacement of eggs if you're giving it up for veganuary. So it's very simple. We're just going to mix together chickpea flour or gram flour. This is black salt or kala namak, and this basically kind of has a bit of a sulphurous, eggy smell. So if you are turning vegan, then this is quite a good thing to grab if you're going to make tofu scramble or other eggy dishes. Add something to it. Nutritional yeast, olive oil, seasoning, and some veg. I'm just going to stick with spinach for this recipe, but you can use whatever veg you enjoy in your usual omelette. And this is great if it's something that you eat all the time, if you're already having omelette a lot and you're doing veganuary. We have 30 grams of gram flour, and I'll add this into a bowl with a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a pinch of black salt and some pepper. Slowly whisk in 75 ml of water to your gram flour mixture. We have our omelette mixture, which should smell a little bit eggy and resemble somewhat some whisked up eggs. I'll heat up the pan. I've got a nice non-stick pan. I feel like this is crucial. Get a non-stick pan, plenty of olive oil. I'm going to grate some cheese on there as well when it starts to cook, and throw in a handful of spinach. You can add in vegetables and cook them beforehand, like fry off some mushrooms or peppers or whatever, how you would normally do. But it should be that simple. You can also sprinkle some extra black salt on there because it does tend to dissipate the flavour when you cook with it. So it's nice to add a little bit extra as you eat. Look at this. It's like a little savoury pancake. Well, I know that gram flour usually is used to make essentially a pancake, so that's what this is adapted from. Yum. Yeah, and the black salt on top definitely adds the eggy texture, because I think if you didn't have that, it's worth getting if you're doing veganuary, because If it didn't have that, it would be more like a savoury pancake, which is also delicious, but I also used Epic Mature from Violife. So if you're, obviously this is a Veganuary video, how many times can I say Veganuary? If you're doing Veganuary, that is one that I really recommend. Violife Epic Mature, because it melts really well. And Cathedral City have recently brought out their own vegan cheese, and that's delicious, tastes really creamy and yummy. So those are my two current favorites.
The next most important thing that you need to know how to make as a vegan are beans. You definitely need to know how to make beans. Not just beans, but also lentils. I'm gonna put those in the same category, though cooking them is pretty different. But let's start with beans. Beans, the wonderful food. I love them so much. I could eat beans. No, not I could. I do eat beans every single day. And if you have any issue digesting beans, that means you're not eating enough. So just FYI, side note. So a lot of people are intimidated when it comes to cooking beans, but they're actually incredibly easy to cook. The first thing you need to make sure is you soak them overnight. It's easy to soak. I mean, just put them in a bowl, cover them with water, go to sleep. Next morning, they're ready for you to cook. Or if you don't do it overnight, do it in the morning and you can cook them in the evening. Give them at least 6 to 8 hours of soaking time. That helps them cook more quickly, and it also makes them more easily digestible and breaks down any of the nutrient inhibitors that beans naturally have. Okay, how do you cook beans? Now that I have and am in love with my Instant Pots, I cook my beans in the Instant Pot. It's a lot faster than cooking them on the stove, and I don't have to worry about are they boiling over or turning down the heat or any of that. Put them in the Instant Pot, forget about it. I typically cook my beans in the Instant Pot for about 35 minutes. It is so easy. If you end up cooking your beans on the stove, however, it tends to usually take between 45 minutes to an hour. Different beans have different cook times. I really don't cook my beans solo without any seasoning. I like to saute onion and garlic first, put the beans in there, and add other seasonings as well, like oregano. Sometimes I do thyme and basil. Of course, salt and pepper as well. And you could also make a full bean dish. I'm gonna link to some of my favorite bean recipes down below, like my red beans and rice. I have a recipe for that here on YouTube, and my black eyed peas. I am from the South, so those are my two favorite bean recipes in the whole world, and I eat them as much as possible. And you'll see how easy they really are to make, and you don't have to be intimidated by beans. Little side note, lentils are a lot easier to cook. You don't have to soak them overnight. You can still make them in your Instant Pot or on the stove. It's easy both ways. And lentils are also wonderful to have as like lentil soup. You can put them in salads. You can have them in Buddha bowls. Lentils all around. We all should probably be eating also more of those. They're super high in protein, fiber, all the good stuff. I love lentils. I love them so much.
So here I've got my shredded veggies and my cooked rice. I'm just going to reach into the freezer, grab my veggie burger of choice. A lot of times I reach for this Hillary's brand. I think they're really delicious. I'm just going to microwave that. You can do this on the stove or in the air fryer as well. And then once it's kind of warmed through, I'll just break it up with a fork until kind of like a ground meat consistency. Like you want it to be nice and small. Then I'm going to add my rice, heat that up one more time, and then add my shredded veggies. And I love the fluffy, warm rice with the cool, crunchy veggies. I've also got some yellow carrot here. And then the dressing is super simple. I just do some fresh lemon juice, a little olive oil, and salt. Sometimes I also do a little bit of soy sauce depending on my mood and depending on which veggie burger I use. But the reason I love this so much is because you've got a lot of contrast going on. So we've got the hot-cold combo going on, which I always think is just so satisfying. You've also got like the soft, fluffy rice that contrasts the crunchy veggies. So it's just so